Welcome, dear students, to an interesting chapter in political and social life. In this chapter, you will be able to link what is happening around us to the content of the lesson. For all the cricket fraternity, the Indian Premier League is a massive source of entertainment. IPL 2021 was forced to stop matches midway when some of the players started to test positive for COVID-19, but is all set to continue the remainder of the matches by shifting the IPL event to Dubai and will commence from September 19. Here is the infamous run-out of IPL 2021, wherein there was a mix-up between Mayank Agarwal and Deepak Hooda. So who's out and who's not? Only the rule book can give us that clarity, and therefore rules are very important. If cricket is played with a bat, football is played by using our feet, and a foul like this one can get you a yellow or red card depending on the situation, and any foul inside the D area results in a penalty. Every single rule helps to define the game and helps us to distinguish one game from another. Similarly, there are rules for those who follow a particular religion, and these rules are found in their scriptures. Following the directions given in the Bhagavad Gita makes one a Hindu. Following the instructions given in the Quran makes one a Muslim, and following the Granth Sahib makes one a Sikh. Apart from religious duties, we also have civic duties, and these are written in the Constitution. They are the rules for all Indians, and they give us our rights and our duties. What exactly are they? Well, we are going to find out just that in our social and political science chapter, the Indian Constitution. Most of the countries in the world have a constitution. The Constitution is a document that lays down the basic laws or principles of a country. They are related to its governance and describe the rights and duties of the citizens. No fear, no rules, no limits. Wow! These are statements that appeal to the youth. So if we desire no rules, no limits, why do we need a constitution? Well, basically, a constitution serves three broad purposes. In the first place, a constitution lays out the ideals that citizens aspire to live in, such as liberty, equality, fraternity, and justice. Secondly, it defines the nature of the country's political system. It tells us if the country is under a monarchy or if it is a democracy, a theocracy, or an autocracy. Thirdly, we need a constitution to save us from ourselves. Well, this does sound strange, but you will agree when we discuss it in detail. This is the beauty of the highest mountain on earth, Mount Everest. This mountain peak of the Himalayas is located in Nepal. The country shares its border with India, and hence we are going to quickly look at the aspirations of the people of Nepal in relation to the constitution. The country of Nepal was a monarchy, as the king was the final authority in the country. This changed as there was a people's movement for democracy, and finally in 2006 they finally succeeded in putting an end to the powers of the king and gave itself an interim constitution, which means constitution for the time being till a new constitution was drafted. With Nepal becoming a democratic republic, the king lost most of his powers, including legislative powers, executive powers, and financial powers. It took many years for Nepal to debate and discuss its new constitution, and finally on September 20, 2016, the new constitution of Nepal came into effect. The new constitution embraced the principles of republicanism, federalism, secularism, and inclusiveness. These were the aspirations of the people of Nepal. These were the ideals on which they wanted to build their country, and this speaks volumes of the importance of having a constitution. If the interim constitution of 2007 had ended monarchy in Nepal, this constitution ended the chances of monarchical revival by making the president as the ceremonial head of the country. An interesting trivia is Nepal is the only country that does not have a rectangular or a square flag. Its flag is a combination of two single pennons. Secondly, it follows a different calendar. Back in 2015, they were already in 2072. That means they are 57 years ahead of us. So children born this year, 2021, are marked on their birth certificate as born in 2078. So if any of you wish to time travel into the future, just pay a visit to Nepal. Having looked at how the basic aspirations of the people are enshrined in the constitution, let us move to the second point. The second most important purpose of the constitution is to define the nature of a country's political system. For example, Nepal's earlier constitution stated that the country was to be ruled by the king and his council of ministers. But the new constitution established a parliamentary form of government. In a democracy, we choose our leaders to exercise power on our behalf. However, there is always the possibility that these leaders might misuse their authority, and the constitution usually provides safeguards against these. The misuse of authority can result in injustice, as we will now see in a classroom scenario. Suresh is the class monitor. He is a bully. His classmates are not too fond of him. Mrs. Rao, the class teacher, has to leave the classroom on some urgent work. She asks Suresh to mind the class. Suresh starts picking on Anil. Anil, today I am going to report you to Mrs. Rao. But what have I done? When Mrs. Rao returns to class, "Ma'am, while you were away, Anil kept talking loudly and disturbing the class. He would not listen to me. Anil, you have to stay back after school today and write. I will not disobey the class monitor 100 times. But ma'am, I did not do anything. Here we see how misuse of authority led to injustice. In a democracy, the Constitution lays down rules to prevent misuse of authority by political leaders. Many of these are contained in the Fundamental Rights section of the Indian Constitution. In a recent sedition case, the Supreme Court ruled that criticism of government is not sedition and upheld the fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression. Another important function that a constitution plays in a democracy is to ensure that a dominant group does not use its power against other, less powerful people or groups. The storyboard below demonstrates one such situation in the classroom. The games period is about to begin. Let's play basketball today for a change. No, we will play cricket. The teacher decides to settle the problem with a show of hands. Hehehe, we won. Obviously, there are more boys in the class. We always have to do what the boys want because they are in a majority. Ma'am should think of another way to make decisions so that our wishes are also heard. In our democratic society, the Constitution provides special rights to the minorities under fundamental rights to avoid one community or the majority dominating another community that is in a minority. The third significant reason why we need a constitution is to save us from ourselves. This does sound strange, isn't it? Let us understand it from the given storyboard. Shabnam is in a fix. She has a decision to make. I have 2 chapters left to revise for tomorrow's test. But it's time for my favorite TV program. I'm dying to watch it. But if I do, I won't have time to finish my revision. Shabnam, why are you looking so worried? I want to watch this TV program, but I have a test tomorrow. If you all watch TV, I will also want to watch. I have an idea. What if no one watches TV tonight? Then I may not be tempted. It's a good thing I did not watch TV. There are so many questions from the last 2 chapters. Now, how does the Constitution help us to save us from ourselves? Many a times we are disgusted by the dirty party politics and rampant corruption and begin to think that it is better to have a dictator to put everything in place. We may strongly feel the need for a dictator, not realizing that in the long run, dictatorial rule goes against all our interests. A good constitution does not allow these whims to change its basic structure or to overthrow the provisions that guarantee rights of citizens and protects their freedom. The Indian Constitution was built on a solid base. It took almost 3 years to draft the Constitution. To be precise, 2 years, 11 months and 18 days, just 12 days shy of completing another year. All the provisions were discussed, debated and voted. The Constituent Assembly, which had to prepare the Constitution, had 299 members from all walks of life. Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar was the chief architect of the Indian Constitution and is therefore known as the father of the Indian Constitution. He was the only Indian who had attended all 3 round table conferences in England. India had many challenges while drafting its constitution. The partition of our country into India and Pakistan, indecision from princely states to join India or not, differences in religion, language and culture. However, the Constituent Assembly rose to the occasion and gave the country a visionary document that reflects a respect for maintaining diversity while preserving national unity. There are basically 5 pillars on which the Constitution rests upon. They are the most important features of the Indian Constitution. They are federalism, parliamentary form of government, fundamental rights, separation of powers, and secularism. Federalism refers to the existence of more than one level of government in the country. Each have powers bestowed by the Constitution of India. In India, we have a 3-tier system. At the top is the Union government headed by the Prime Minister. Next, we have a state government headed by the Chief Minister. And the 3rd tier is Panchayati Raj that follows the structure of Zilla Parishad, Panchayati Samiti and Gram Panchayat. Another aspect of federalism is that legislative powers are shared by the union government and the state government. Basically, these powers are distributed into 3 lists. There is the union list, the state list, and the concurrent list. The union list contains subjects of national importance, and only the parliament has power to make laws regarding these subjects, such as defense, foreign affairs, currency. State list contains subjects of local and state importance, and here the state government can make laws according to its local needs. And in the concurrent list, there are subjects that are of common interest to both center and state, and both are involved in making laws on subjects that are in this list. Parliamentary form of government. All our leaders at all the 3 tiers are elected by the people. The Constitution grants every citizen above the age of 18 years the right to vote, thus attempting to break traditional caste, class and gender hierarchies. In the parliamentary form of government, the party that gets maximum votes forms the government, and the leader of the ruling party is called the Prime Minister. Separation of powers. The three organs of the government, namely legislature, executive, and judiciary, share powers and keep a check on government. The legislature, consisting of Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, make laws, formulate laws. The executive, consisting of the President of India and the Council of Ministers, implement these laws and run the government. And the judiciary is there to strike a balance and check on the constitutional validity of laws. Fundamental rights. The section on fundamental rights has often been referred to as the conscience of the Indian Constitution. I repeat, the conscience of the Indian Constitution. There are basically 6 rights under this section: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies. The right to equality ensures that every citizen is the same under the law. Hence, any person, irrespective of age, gender, caste, creed, religion, language, and social status are considered equal. The right to equality ensures that all persons are treated equally. Indian citizens enjoy 6 freedoms as per the Constitution. The right to freedom ensures that Indian citizens can carry out their daily lives peacefully without undue restriction, harassment, or oversight by the government. Well, all the students too feature in this section because applicable to all the students in the country is Article 21A that provides free and compulsory education to all children. Right against exploitation. All Indian citizens enjoy a right against being exploited or misused. The right against exploitation provided under the Constitution protects children, the vulnerable, and the poor from bonded labor, child labor, and human trafficking. Right to freedom of religion. India is a secular country with people of different faiths living in harmony. Indian citizens can practice a religion of choice and perform rituals or activities as per their religious customs. According to the Constitution, all religions are equal before the state, and no religion has a preference over the other. Further, Indian citizens are free to preach, practice, and propagate any religion of their choice. The cultural and educational rights in the Constitution protect the rights and customs of the minorities. Further, the Constitution provides for any community that has a language and a script of its own to conserve and develop that language and script. Right to constitutional remedies empowers Indian citizens to approach a court of law in case of any denial of the fundamental rights. This right also empowers courts to preserve and safeguard the citizens' fundamental rights as laid out in the Constitution. Secularism. A secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. That's why India has a national bird, a national animal, a national tree, but does not have a national religion. We will read more about this in our following chapter, so stay tuned.